All heavens, pick up cards starting from Naruto Chapter 1, Morning Sky. Konoha. In a somewhat dilapidated small courtyard, under a dying tree. Shintian slowly put away the shuriken in his hand and looked at the passers-by who were hurriedly walking outside the courtyard with sad faces, with an emotional expression. It has been 10 days since I came to this world. That's right. Shintian is a time traveler, and he has a system. A system called card pickup can randomly pick up attribute cards dropped by others from others. The stronger the person, the higher the level of cards they can pick up, and the higher attributes Shintian will get. From power cards, to speed cards, to ninjutsu cards, etc., the attributes of the cards picked up are all kinds of strange. From low to high levels, there are white cards, blue cards, purple cards, red cards and gold cards. Gold is the highest level card. Unfortunately, the system has been activated for 10 days. Not only did Shintian not see the shadow of the golden card, he had not even picked up any cards so far. The reason is that the day he traveled through time happened to be the day the Third Ninja War ended. His parents had died in the war, leaving only Shintian who was only 5 years old. The panic coming from time travel and the confusion about the future made Shintian dare not leave the courtyard. As a result, he has not seen anyone at all in the past 10 days, and naturally there are no cards for him to pick up. It's almost time. Looking at the sky, Shintian changed into black clothes and headed towards Konoha Cemetery. Today is the day when the heroes who died on the battlefield enter the cemetery, and everyone will go there. Walking on the road, looking at the sad and heartbroken passers-by on the lonely streets, Shintian became more aware of the cruelty of this world. Just one war broke thousands of families in Konoha. Some children became orphans like him, and some mothers lost their husbands and children. That's right, at the end of the Third War, Konoha had already started sending children to the battlefield. I must become strong enough to control my own destiny. While secretly swearing in his heart, Shintian arrived at the cemetery and looked up. The leader was none other than the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was still in his prime. Then he swept away rows of people, including the pale-faced Orochimaru, the gentle-faced Namikaze Minato and others. However, they all looked sad at this time and stood quietly in front of the memorial monument. Seeing that no one noticed him as a child, Shintian randomly found a corner and stood down. Although the body of the parents is also on the memorial tablet, Shintian is not very sad. Because he has never seen the parents of this body at all. Even because of the war, the original owner had not seen his parents a few times. Even though Shintian searched all his memories, he only knew that his parents came back at most once a year. Had he not hired an ordinary person to take care of him, the original owner might have starved to death before he could cross over. It can be learned that after his parents died in the war, the nanny also left on his own. Because the original owner couldn't bear the blow and was exhausted mentally and physically, he allowed Shintian to travel through. However, although there is no emotion, the memorial ceremony must still be held. Just when Shintian was thinking wildly, he suddenly saw a white card under the feet of the person in front of him. It looks about the same size as a playing card, but it is covered with milky white light and looks very beautiful. When Shintian wanted to explore the content on the card, he found that he could not see anything. The ninja in front of him, Shintian, didn't recognize him, but judging from his clothes, he was obviously a genin of the Uchiha clan. After hesitating for a while, Shintian still could not resist the temptation of the card. He pretended to have a sad expression and squatted down slowly. There is no way. After all, this is the first time he has seen the card. No one knows how long the card will last. It would be bad if it disappears. Most of the people present were ninjas, and Shintian's actions naturally did not escape their attention. But when he saw a 5-year-old child losing his temper because of sadness, he didn't pay much attention to it. On the contrary, when Namikaze Minato, who had a sunny face, saw the morning sky, his expression suddenly turned gloomy. Of course, Shintian didn't see this scene. He was slowly extending his claws towards the white card. Because the distance was very close, Shintian easily collected the cards. Then he rubbed his eyes and stood up again with a look of suppressing sadness. Casually placing his gaze on a tombstone, Chen Tian couldn't wait to observe the white card in his mind. During this period, he got up early and stayed up late every day, exercising like crazy, but to no avail. It turns out that his talent is very average, and the system is the only way for him to become stronger. Ding, the white card has a strength attribute of +1, do you want to absorb it? Absorb. Immediately afterwards, a warm current poured into the body. The feeling of comfort made Chen Tian narrow his eyes slightly. He could clearly feel that his body strength had increased a lot. Calling out the body attribute panel. Host, Chen Tian. Strength, 5. Speed, 4. Physique, 4. Spirit, 22. Skill, Shuriken Basic LV1. PS, the average adult score is 10 in all 4 categories. Putting the body panel into his eyes, Chen Tian looked away. Except for spirit, which is due to time travel, other attributes are pitifully low. The skills are only the basics of Shuriken that I just learned in the past 10 days. Chen Tian was just in a daze, but in the eyes of everyone, it was obvious that the child couldn't bear the huge blow and was in a daze. Seeing this scene, Minato Namikaze gritted his teeth and whispered to Kushina Uzumaki beside him. Kushina, that is Izumi and Hei's child, I want to adopt him. Chen Ping and Xingchuan are Chen Tian's parents. They are also from civilian backgrounds and are neighbors with Namikaze Minato. It can be said that they grew up together since childhood. It was only later that because of Namikaze Minato's great talent, he was accepted as a disciple by Jiraiya, one of the 3 ninjas, and he gradually drifted away. But in this war, Chen Ping and Xingchuan, who were special jounin, were once again assigned to Namikaze Minato. It is a pity that both of them died in the battle and did not come back alive. Okay, we'll go find Sandai when this is over. Kushina just glanced at Chen Tian and agreed without hesitation. She is also familiar with Chen Tian's mother Xingchuan, and she and Xingchuan can be called best friends. As the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, she had no way of leaving Konoha. So when Xingchuan has no mission, they always go shopping together. It's just that since the war started, they have hardly seen each other. Looking at Chen Tian's distracted expression at this time, Kushina could not suppress the maternal brilliance in her heart. Chen Tian naturally didn't know that his future fate had been decided, and he was still looking around, trying to find other cards. It's a pity that there is no harvest yet. Wherever the leaves are flying, the will of fire will not be extinguished. After Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a long speech, everyone dispersed, and Chen Tian also walked towards his den. This house with a courtyard is the only thing his parents left him. I can't train myself, and I don't know how to extract chakra yet. It seems that I will go out for a walk later to see if I can pick up anything good. Beyond that, it would be best to enter a ninja school, where there are so many attributes of classmates and teachers that can be picked up. On the way home, Chen Tian began to make plans for his future. He is just an ordinary orphan, and there is no way he can come into contact with powerful ninjas. So ninja school is the best choice, which can allow him to develop steadily and gradually become stronger. But for an orphan, ninja school is not that easy to get into, so he must find a way. In this way, Chen Tian slowly approached his small house while thinking. All heavens, pick up card starting from Naruto Chapter 2, Golden Card. Crunch. Pushing open the door, the moment Chen Tian was about to enter, he noticed something unusual. At that moment, his right hand touched the ninja bag on his waist, which contained his only weapon, a shuriken. My heart sank. I was just an ordinary child, and now I was an orphan. Who would come to find me? Especially at this critical moment when the Third World War is about to end, Chen Tian couldn't help but think too much. Don't be nervous, I'm your father's friend. Before Chen Tian could continue his action, a gentle voice sounded in the courtyard. Chen Tian looked intently, and Minato Namikaze with yellow hair and a smile was looking at him. Next to Namikaze Minato was Kushina Uzumaki with red hair on her shoulders. Immediately Chen Tian felt relieved. If it was these two people, although he didn't know why they were looking for him, there shouldn't be any danger. I've met Minato Jonin and Kushina Jonin. I wonder what you want from me? Chen Tian saluted the two of them respectfully. In this ninja world, the only rule to save your life when you are weak is to never try to provoke people you can't afford to offend. After all, not everyone is Uchiha Sasuke, who can defy the sky and the earth and still live so well. Shin Tian does not have an older brother like Uchiha Itachi, nor does he have the status of being the son of the Sage of Six Paths Minato and Kushina, as ninjas, naturally noticed Shintian's little moves. You look like you know us. Kushina knelt down and rubbed Shintian's little face with her two slender hands as white as jade. She had no doubts about Shintian in her heart, she just took this opportunity to rub Shintian. Although Shintian was young, her sculpted face and barely 1 meter height made it impossible for Kushina to take her eyes away. When Shintian heard this, he was shocked at first, but after noticing Kushina's actions, he calmed down. Then he glanced at Namikaze Minato again. Although he was sunny, he was not as neurotic as Kushina. Maybe he doubted himself because of this matter. It's not like listening to the 8 code Suede. Because his little face was constantly deforming in Kushina's claws, Shintian's words were vague. Speak English. Kushina, who didn't understand, was immediately stunned, and then started rubbing her more and more wantonly. Looking at the angry expression, it was obvious that Shintian was playing tricks on her on purpose. Ahem. Kushina, he is saying that his parents told him to let him go first. Looking at the increasing black lines on Shintian's forehead, Namikaze Minato covered his forehead with one hand and said awkwardly. This time Kushina reacted and reluctantly let go of Shintian's little face. Noticing that his cheeks were starting to tingle, Shintian glared at Kushina unhappily. But he also knew that Kushina was such a nervous woman, so he was not angry. Then he set his sights on Namikaze Minato again, waiting for his answer. That's it. Kushina and I are here to take you back to live together, and we have already obtained the consent of the 3rd generation. Minato Namikaze took a step forward, touched Shintian's ink-like black hair, and said gently. At the same time, he was always paying attention to Shintian's expression, for fear of Shintian's rejection. He failed to protect his friends on the battlefield. Minato could not face his own heart if his children could not have a better life. But he saw that when he was speaking, Shintian's eyes suddenly lit up, and he suddenly felt a lot more at ease. Without waiting for Shintian's answer, he made a decision immediately. Look at what you need to take away. Kushina and I are waiting for you here. After saying that, he gently pushed Shintian toward the house. But these words made Shintian confused. He just saw a golden card of the highest level falling from Namikaze Minato, so why did he agree to it? Yes, just when Minato took a step forward, Shintian saw a golden card falling from him, so he was a little dazed. This is a golden card, the highest level card in the system. The golden card dropped from Namikaze Minato. Shintian knew what this card represented. Definitely, it can only be the art of flying thunder god. At the moment, I don't care about anything else. Just adopt, the cards are the most important. So he followed Minato's power and threw the card towards the location with a snap. The moment he landed, he had already put the card in his bag. Seeing this, Kushina instantly came to Shintian, helped him up, and asked, "Are you okay?" "It's okay, I accidentally dropped it. I'll clean it up right away." Shintian waved his hands repeatedly, and then hurriedly thought about running inside the house. Back inside the house, Shintian could still hear Kushina's roar and Minato's begging for mercy. Thinking that it was only the first time they met, Minato had taken the blame and was taken away by Kushina. A smile appeared on Shintian's little face. It was said that he was packing, but in fact there was nothing to take, only his own change of clothes. As for the other things, they are all in a storage scroll. Shintian only needs to take away the scroll. Having the consciousness of an adult, Shintian, who has read the original Naruto novel, is very clear that it won't be long before the 3rd Hokage throws him into an orphanage and confiscates his house and other financial assets. Now following Minato and Kushina is a very good choice. It is infinitely better than going to an orphanage. At least he can take away the wealth left by his parents. Adhering to the principle of not taking advantage of the black-hearted old man, Shintian implemented the strategy of plucking the goose's hair, leaving not even a grain of rice behind. From the original work, he disliked the 3rd generation old man very much. Of all the Hokages, he was the weakest, and he even shamelessly named himself the strongest Hokage. In order to ruin the position of the village chief, he carried out all kinds of conspiracies and tricks. He didn't want to strengthen Konoha every day, but he knew Zhongliang. Having the time, wouldn't you think of ways to open up financial avenues for Konoha and free Konoha from the control of the daimyo? Forget it, the problem is that you actually put all the blame on Danzo, and you walked through thousands of flowers without even touching a leaf. Completely expressed the word shameless to the fullest. Even though he thought so, Chen Tian would never say it out loud. There is no way, who can let this shameless old thief live the longest? After saying it, Chen Tian felt that he would not survive the next day. After finishing cleaning up, Chen Tian opened the system. Although Minato and Kushina did not follow up, with their strength, they would definitely be able to detect their actions. So after cleaning up, stop because of reluctance. This is the best reason. Ding, the golden card is a primary space talent. Do you want to absorb it? Absorb. Although it was different from his guess, Chen Tian was a little confused, but he still absorbed it. Just like when he absorbed the power card before, a warm current continued to flow in his body. The only difference is that this warm current is much larger than before. After the absorption was over, Chen Tian clenched his fist hard, but there was no improvement. His system has no intelligence at all, so Chen Tian can only slowly explore it on his own. Bring up the system panel. Host, Chen Tian. Strength, 5. Speed, 4. Physique, 4. Spirit, 22. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skill, Shuriken Basic LV1. All attributes remain unchanged, except for the addition of Space Talent. The moment he saw this talent, Chen Tian knew why it was a golden card. Because this means that he can practice all space attribute ninjutsu in the future, the representative of which is the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. While being excited, Chen Tian curled his lips a little greedily. The lowest level is LV1 and the highest is LV9. This talent is only LV3, which is not powerful enough. Namikaze Minato, you are such a piece of trash. After picking up the card, his space talent was completely equal to Minato, so Chen Tian couldn't help but sigh. All heavens, pick up card starting from Naruto Chapter 3, picking up nine-tailed fox fur. Time is like running water, passing by quietly. Unknowingly, Chen Tian had spent 2 months with Minato and Kushina. Because of the care of Minato and Kushina, Chen Tian's heart gradually calmed down and he was no longer as panicked as before. So gradually, he slowly revealed his original character. During these 2 months, Chen Tian never gave up on his cultivation, but worked harder and harder. Hence, even if he did not pick up any cards, his strength has grown somewhat. Host, Chen Tian. Strength, 6. Speed, 5. Physique, 5. Spirit, 22. Chakra, 5. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Physical Technique LV1, Chakra Extraction Technique LV1. Seeing that his strength, speed, and physique had improved a little, Chen Tian was very satisfied, and a cute smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Basic Taijutsu was given to him by Namikaze Minato, and he was just getting started. As for the Chakra Extraction Technique, it was something left to Chen Tian by his father. It was because he learned the Chakra Extraction Technique that he had chakra. During this period, he also figured out that the chakra in the system refers to the reserves, not the existing chakra. Chakra 5 is like a cup, whether there is water or not, it is still 5. When the chakra in the system increases, the cup is enlarged to have more capacity. Xiaochen, it's time to eat. At this moment, Kushina's voice sounded in the room, and at the same time, the tempting smell of rice came. I know, I'll come right away. Before he could finish his words, Chen Tian walked toward the room with his short legs. There is no need to look or ask, just by the smell of the rice, you can tell that this is Minato's work. Although Kushina's cooking skills are good, she has no talent and has always been at a good level. I'm gonna start now. Wash your hands quickly, Chen Tian starts eating with a groan. Minato and Kushina smiled at each other and started eating as well. It is worth mentioning that although Shintian was adopted, he was not the son of Minato and Kushina, but his younger brother. This is also the result obtained after Shintian argued hard. Crack! The sound of bowls and chopsticks falling to the ground suddenly sounded. Shintian looked up and saw a layer of red mist appearing around Kushina's body. Kushina closed her eyes and moved her fingers together. Minato appeared in front of Kushina immediately. He placed his right hand on Kushina's lower abdomen, and a very complicated mark appeared on Kushina's lower abdomen. Nine-tailed chakra. At the first moment, this sentence appeared in Shintian's heart. However, after seeing Minato and Kushina's actions, he was no longer anxious. Although the Nine Tails is powerful, it cannot break away from Kushina's control, let alone Minato's help. But as he looked at it, Shintian realized that something was not right. He seemed to sense a space, and there was no obstruction in this space. With just one step, he seemed to be able to enter this space. Thinking this way, Shintian did the same. The moment he took a step, he felt as if he had passed through a layer of water, which made him unable to open his eyes. So he didn't see that there was a card with purple light under his feet, which he stepped on ruthlessly. When he opened his eyes, he saw three confused faces, those of Minato, Kushina and Kyubi. Why did you come in? In an instant, Minato appeared in front of Shintian and protected Shintian behind him. It wasn't until this moment that Kushina and Kyubi reacted. Kushina also came to Shintian, while Kyubi snorted proudly in the cage, but also raised his ears to eavesdrop. I don't know, I just suddenly felt a space, and then I came in. Shintian was also very confused. He didn't know how he entered the space inside Kushina's body. On the contrary, Minato's eyes flashed and he asked, Shaochin, are you saying that you felt a space and then came in whenever you wanted? Yes. Shintian nodded without hiding anything. Hearing this, Minato's eyes sparkled even more brightly, and he said to Kushina, the matter here is over, let's go back and talk. Kushina was stunned for a moment, then nodded, and her figure gradually disappeared. Minato also pulled Shintian toward the black passage. Before leaving, Shintian glanced at Joey curiously, but just this time, he could no longer look away. Because Kyubi has hundreds of cards of various colors beside him, including white, blue, and purple. But the next moment, his and Minato's figures began to disappear. When he came back to his senses, Shintian found that he was still sitting in the same place, not moving at all. For a while, he had some guesses in his mind. Since a behemoth like Kyubi can be trapped in the body, the place where Kyubi is imprisoned is obviously a space. The reason why he was able to get in was obviously because of LV3's space talent. After some discussion, Minato determined that Shintian's talent in space was not weaker than his at all, so he was very happy. He was even more determined in his heart to teach Shintian the art of flying Thunder God once he has the strength to be a Jounin. But Shintian himself didn't know all this. While confirming his talent, he also received some bad news. That is, although he has space talent, he cannot freely enter the space where Ninetales is imprisoned. Only after the Ninetales rebellion could he have the ability to enter. This made him stop playing with the numerous cards around Kyubi. After dinner, Shintian went back to his room alone. During this period, he also paid little attention to the situation in the ninja world. The three wars have now completely ended. After that, the major ninja villages secretly licked their wounds and continued to grow and develop. All the things that should have happened, such as Obito Uchiha is dead, Minato's voice continues to get louder, etc. This made Shintian feel a sense of oppression in his heart. Others didn't know it, but he knew the future. The big boss Uchiha Obito is already in place, Orochimaru is about to defect, the Night of the Ninetales is only a few years away, and the Uchiha clan is not far away. Not to mention the random dancing after the plot begins, the movie level is like a weakling. None of these things are small, and with his strength there is absolutely no way he can interfere. Originally, as long as you survive and slowly become stronger, it will be fine, but now that you have Minato and Kushina, Shintian wants to keep them. And this requires strong power to complete. Minato is now 21 years old. He became Hokage at the age of 22 and died in the Ninetales Rebellion at the age of 24. That means I must have shadow-level strength within 3 years. Thinking of this, Chen-Tian's head feels big. The Kage level is not that easy to break through, otherwise why would Hiruzen Sarutobi be the third Hokage? After setting the goal, Chen-Tian started to make plans. He is only 5 years old now, and his physical fitness and chakra are his biggest shortcomings, which can only be made up for through the system. There is only one person in Konoha who is most likely to drop physical fitness cards, and that is Metkai. The second thing is chakra. This thing must have the most tailed beasts, and the 9 tails are even more. So Chen-Tian still set his sights on Joe, but the specific plan had to be implemented slowly. As for ninjutsu, it is much simpler. Not too many people know it, and you can pick up a lot casually. In addition, he can also learn by himself, a two-pronged approach. Metkai should be at the training ground. While guessing, Chen-Tian stopped waiting, said hello to Kushina and ran towards the training ground. All heavens, pick up card starting from Naruto Chapter 4, Jounin Chakra. After leaving home, Chen-Tian jogged all the way to the training ground. It has been 2 months since the war ended. Although Konoha is still deserted, it has also recovered a lot. At least there are many more people on the streets. But Chen-Tian didn't care much about these things, and soon he arrived at the training ground. Bang bang bang. As soon as he arrived at the training ground, he saw his target, a watermelon rind wearing green tights. But what surprised Chen-Tian was that the person who was fighting with watermelon peel was Hatake Kakashi. Beside the training ground, a girl was watching the battle between Kakashi and Metkai. Although his memory was a little fuzzy, Chen-Tian still recognized the girl. I didn't expect Noera Lin to be alive. In an instant, 10,000 conspiracies emerged in Chen-Tian's mind. Done it. Chen-Tian, who originally had no idea about the future, suddenly thought of how to develop in the future. Secretly inciting rebellion against Obito, after saving the people he cares about, he tried his best to make the plot develop as smoothly as possible. Thinking about the terrifying strength of those people in the later stage, and thinking about the cards that may fall at any time, Chen-Tian felt like his saliva was about to flow out. But the first thing is to have a good relationship with these 3 people. Tap tap tap. There was a burst of small steps, and Chen-Tian came not far from Yuenya Lin, pretending to watch the battle between Kakashi and Metkai. But his eyes were on the ground around the 2 of them, where there were many cards lying quietly. Little brother, are you here to train too? Yuenya Lin noticed Chen-Tian's arrival immediately and asked immediately. Just looking at her appearance, Chen-Tian always felt that she was a little bit impatient and wanted to rub his face with sinful hands. But after taking a closer look at Yuan Yelin's appearance, Chen-Tian felt that it was not okay to let such a beautiful young lady rub her. Yes, my brother said that Metkai is a very strong taijutsu ninja, so he asked me to train with him. Chen-Tian did not hesitate to put the blame on Minato, without the slightest feeling of guilt. Child, who is your brother? Kakashi and Metkai, who had long noticed that Chen-Tian had ended the battle. When Chen-Tian was talking to Yuan Yilin, he appeared behind him. Hearing Kakashi's cold and emotionless voice, Chen-Tian knew that Kakashi's heart was now full of darkness. Hey, my brother is Minato Namikaze, your mentor. Chen-Tian spread his hands, walked to the place where Kakashi and Metkai were fighting amid the weird looks of the 3 people, and sat down on the ground. Hands flapping randomly, he put the cards into his bag one by one. After he finished collecting it, he was about to stand up when he suddenly discovered that the sole of his right foot was actually emitting a purple light. Looking down at the moment, he saw an expression of ecstasy on his face after discovering the purple card on the sole of his foot. Ha 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 ha. Looking at Chen-Tian sitting on the ground laughing, the 3 of Kakashi looked at each other, their eyes full of pity. Harano Lin came to Kakashi gently, pulled his sleeve and asked, Kakashi, isn't this kid stupid? Who knows? After replying boringly, Kakashi took the lead to leave. He also wanted to ask Minato to see if what the child said was true. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting a white card, plus 1 strength point. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting the blue card, fire escape, the powerful fireball technique. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting a blue card, the speed value is increased by 10. A series of prompts sounded, and Qintian's attributes underwent earth-shaking changes. Host, Qintian. Strength, 23. Speed, 25. Physique, 19. Spirit, 25. Chakra, 5. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Chakra Lifting Technique LV1, High Fireball Technique LV5, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. The next thing is the most important. Qintian just glanced at it casually, then rubbed his hands and eagerly opened the purple card. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting a purple card, and 1,000 chakras. I'm a fool. I'm a fool. Seeing the system prompt, Qintian jumped up excitedly. 1,000 points of chakra is a Jounin level. I was still worried about chakra before, but now it is solved inexplicably. Qintian felt that God really fell into the trap of Miss Lin, which was so satisfying. At the moment, I can't wait to admire my property panel. Host, Qintian. Strength, 23. Speed, 25. Physique, 19. Spirit, 25. Chakra, 1005. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Chakra Lifting Technique LV1, High Fireball Technique LV5, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. Hey. Qintian, are you okay? Just as Qintian was drooling, Metkai's right hand landed on Qintian's shoulder with a pop sound. This interrupted Qintian's fantasy of stepping on Uchiha Madara and hammering Kagaya Otsutsuki. It's okay, I'm here to exercise with you. After gathering his emotions, Qintian said seriously. After saying this again, he actually already knew what Metkai would do next. As expected, the next moment, Metkai hugged me like the wind and burst into tears with emotion. Everything here is as expected by Qintian, and Kakashi also knows the origin of Qintian. After learning that he was indeed Minato's younger brother, he let go of his doubts. After temporarily gaining Metkai's trust, Qintian has been following him, occasionally picking up cards dropped by Metkai. Watching my attributes increase little by little, I feel an indescribable joy in my heart. The only thing that makes him a little worried is that the ninja school will start soon. At this time, he no longer wanted to go to the ninja school. Wouldn't it be nice to be with Minato and others every day, picking up high-level cards? However, during this period, Qintian also figured out how to drop cards. The first method is high-intensity exercise, which has a very small chance of dropping cards. The second way is to fight. The chance of dropping cards during battle is very high. The last one is random drop. Whether you are eating or sleeping, there is a 1 in 10,000 chance of dropping a card. This is how the golden card on Minato dropped. So if you want to get a lot of cards, you can only fight with others or watch other people fight. But if you want Minato, Kushina and others to fight in front of you, the possibility is not too small. Qintian also tried to fight the two of them, but the system didn't think it was a battle at all, and not a single whiteboard card was dropped. Coupled with the strong demands of Minato and Kushina, Qintian had no choice but to enter the ninja school. Ho ha ha ha. I can't do it anymore, Kai, you can do it yourself. With a pop, Qintian fell to the ground weakly, feeling that his hands no longer belonged to him. When I watched Naruto in my previous life, I thought Kai was a pervert, but I didn't expect him to be so perverted. The first step is to do 5,000 push-ups to warm up. The attributes of the morning are more than 20 points, and it is not enough to do only 500 push-ups. 5,000, sir, 5,000. Looking at Kai, whose expression was still extremely relaxed, Qintian endured it again and again, and finally couldn't help but said, "You are really a pervert." Ha ha ha, as long as you keep exercising, you can do it too. Kai grinned and gave a thumbs up with his right hand. The other hand was still bending and straightening, and the corners of Qintian's mouth twitched as he looked at it. Then he summed up his various attributes, and his strength increased by 2 points, reaching 25 points. The weakest physique has now exceeded 20, reaching 21 points. As for the others, there are no changes. Alas, it only increased by 3 points in total. It's really too slow. Chen Tian looked at the sky with dull eyes and couldn't help but sigh. Had it not been for the fact that his physical fitness had not increased by itself during exercise, his physical fitness would only be 20 points now. All heavens, pick up cards starting from Naruto Chapter 5, looking for ways to make money. While resting in the morning, Metkai had already completed his warm-up and ran a circle around Konoha. Although Kai is only 14 years old this year, he has been a chunin for a long time. If it breaks out with all its strength, its combat effectiveness is even better than Kakashi's. According to Chen Tian's estimation, he is definitely not far away from becoming a jounin. These thoughts flashed through Chen Tian's mind. After he recovered his strength, he patted his clothes and headed towards Minato's house. Now that the sun is setting in the west, it has entered the evening, and it is time to go home in the morning. Otherwise Kushina will definitely teach him why the flowers are so red. The fourth training ground was originally on the edge of Konoha, still far away from the central area. Coupled with the fact that it was getting late, Chen Tian discovered that there was no one else here except him. TSK, according to the plot of the novel, you should be assassinated at this time. Looking around at the woods on both sides, Chen Tian's small eyes were full of expectation. That's the protagonist's treatment, and he wants to give it a try. Tap. Tread. Tread. A series of footsteps fell, and Chen Tian was getting farther and farther away from the training ground. After walking more than 10 meters, he would be completely out of the woods. Chen Tian, who had always been vigilant, had a look of disappointment in his eyes. Am I really not the protagonist? Until Chen Tian returned home, he did not encounter any danger, which made Chen Tian feel disappointed for a while. A long voice came from the forest where Chen Tian left. Are all children in Konoha so vigilant? Xiao Tian, the ninja school will start in a few days, and Minato and I will sign you up. Just as he picked up his job, Kushina made an announcement. Okay, I get it. Looking at the morning sky, which looked like an eggplant beaten by frost, Minato couldn't help but laugh, and immediately started to add insult to injury. My dear, now that the war is over, you have to attend the ninja school for 6 years before you can graduate. Looking at Minato's expression of suppressing a smile, Chen Tian was completely helpless, and after a few words, he returned to the bedroom. Are you kidding me about going to a ninja school now? Kakashi and others have all graduated, and Itachi Uchiha is only 3 years old. Why should I go to a ninja school? Thinking of this, Chen Tian started to lie down with his eyes blank. Kakashi, Asuma, Yuhi Kurinai and others are older than him. They have graduated because of the war, and the 12 little ones have not yet been born. During this period, the only one famous in the original novel was Uchiha Itachi, but he was only 3 years old and was still wearing crotchless pants. This means that all Chen Tian's classmates are cannon fodder. I'm sorry. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became, and Chen Tian finally couldn't help but curse. Without these geniuses, they are all cannon fodder. How about I go pick up some stupid cards? But there is no way. The rules of Konoha cannot be easily changed just because of one person, especially when the third Hokage is on the throne. Besides, Minato and Kushina also wanted to go to school in the morning, so he had no choice but to obey orders. No. Chen Tian stood up, rubbing his chin and murmured, the night of the Nine Tails will be 2 years later. I can't just watch Minato and Kushina die. I have to find a way. Fight. Fight. Without war, we cannot leave Konoha. Where is the battle? Pa. Suddenly, Chen Tian clapped his hands and said excitedly, yes. Go to sleep. At this moment, the satisfied Chen Tian fell asleep with a smile on his face. After a while he entered a dream. In the dream, Chen Tian held a lot of money in his hands and held the first martial arts conference in Konoha Square. The prize for first place is a full 10 million, which can buy 1/3 of Sarutobi Asuma's head. In order to obtain this bonus and Konoha's strongest reputation, ninjas throughout Konoha rushed to sign up. Even the Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but participate in this martial arts competition. In the morning, he was basking in the sun while picking up his attributes, and golden cards buried him like rain. By the time of the decisive battle, Chen was already invincible in the ninja world, and he directly defeated Sarutobi Hiruzen and Minato from the ring in a one-on-two fight. In the quiet room, Chen, who was sitting with a sweet dream, had a rippling smile on his face, and his saliva was dripping down. Early the next morning, I didn't even have time to eat breakfast after waking up, so I ran out to inspect Konoha. All heavens, pick up cards starting from Naruto Chapter 6, Endurance Breaks the Sky. After leaving home, Chen immediately headed towards the business district. Hey, is this the meatball shop that Uchiha Itachi often goes to in the future? Chen rubbed his chin and walked in. After some picking and choosing, I walked out of the store with 2 bunches of 3-color meatballs in my hand. After taking a bite, I murmured, "It just tastes like this, nothing special." After finishing 2 bunches of 3-color meatballs in 3 strokes, 5 divided by 2, Chen began to examine them carefully. There are barbecue restaurants, clothing stores, and casinos. Although we have them all, we don't have anything like hot pot yet, and the styles of these clothes are too low. But after touching his pocket, Chen found that his startup capital seemed to be only a mere 100 taels. Looking at the charge sheet hanging on Ichiraku Ramen, a bowl of ramen costs 80 taels, and Chen face suddenly fell. It's only 100 taels, what else can you do besides eating a bowl of ramen? Besides, the ninja school will start in 3 days, and I don't have that much time to do it. Wow! What a cute little brother. Are you hungry standing here? Sister, please treat you to ramen. Suddenly, a little loli about the same age as Chen walked out of the Yale ramen shop. She looked at the frowning Chen and exclaimed. Although I don't know this little Lolita, I know from the appearance that this little is Calamus. But just as he opened his mouth to explain, Acarus interrupted and said, "Little brother, you don't have to be shy. Ichiraku Ramen is from my sister's house. I can treat you to ramen. Father, let's treat this little brother to ramen." Acarus led Chen into the store and said to Ichiraku. Ha ha ha. Yael, who was still young, smiled heartily and agreed, "No problem. I'm not standing in front of Ichiraku Ramen because I'm hungry." Until this moment, Chen almost had the courage to speak, but Yael had already taken action, and there seemed to be no need to explain. At worst, just give me money after eating. I happen to be a little hungry too. So Chen stopped worrying about it and began to think about his own way of making money. Minato and Kushina adopted him and cared for him meticulously. Chen had no shame in asking them for money. After eating ramen, I only had 20 taels of pocket money left, so I could only buy some small items such as paper and pens. After taking a deep breath, Chen made up his mind. Just at this time, Calamus also came with a bowl of noodles, waking up the morning sky. "The noodles are here, please taste them." After putting down the bowl, Calamus hid aside, but his peripheral vision stayed on Chen face. "This little brother is so cute, I really want to rub his face." No, Calamus, how could you have such rude thoughts?" Shaking his little head hard, Calamus turned his head away from looking at the morning sky. Chen naturally didn't know what this little loli, who was about the same age as herself, was thinking. In order to start her own business as soon as possible, she finished a bowl of ramen in 3 strokes, 5 divided by 2. "I'm full, thank you for the treat." Putting the 80 taels in his hand on the table, Chen thanked Calamus very politely, and then left quickly. He still has things to do. Does a little loli have a small amount of money? Let's wait until she grows up to be a big Lolita. After leaving Ichiraku Ramen, Chen pushed his physical fitness to the limit and bought a pen and a notebook, just in time to spend all the remaining 20 taels. Alas! Did you pay the money too early? Otherwise, there is no need to be so embarrassed. Touching his empty pocket, Chen couldn't help but sigh. Actually, he still has some money, not much, but 400 to 500,000 taels, but it was all given to Kushina before. Originally Kushina didn't want it, but with her determination, she collected the money and used it to marry herself a wife. This has resulted in Chen current embarrassing situation. But it doesn't matter, I don't have time to do those things anyway, and I don't have anyone I can trust. Shaked his head to throw all these thoughts out of his mind, Chen solemnly picked up the pen in his hand. This is the basis for whether he can make a lot of money, so he cannot be serious. The 4 words, "Endurance breaks the sky," appeared on the notebook in front of Chen Tian. That's right, Chen Tian intends to be a copywriter and spread the best-selling books from his previous life to this world. He had read Jiraiya's, The Legend of Perseverance, at Minato's place. To be honest, it was really not that good. Even something like this can be a big seller. Chen Tiankai doesn't believe that a popular book in the past life will fail. Aha! Aha! Based on memories and adaptations, Chen Tian's hands didn't stop for a moment, and the little man lay there writing furiously. Until Minato returned home in the afternoon, Chen Tian was still writing selflessly. In the living room, Minato and Kushina discussed. I have already issued an admission certificate for Chen Tian. When the ninja school starts, we will send him to school. Minato shook the paper instructions in his hand proudly. However, Chen Tian's chakra is very powerful. Isn't it a bit wrong to let him go to school? Although it was not stated explicitly, Kushina could completely understand the meaning of Minato's words. Kushina smiled softly and said, "It's okay." Chen Tian also said before that he wanted to go to ninja school. With just a few words, the two decided Chen Tian's fate for the next 6 years. I don't know if Chen Tian would commit suicide in grief and anger after knowing that he missed an opportunity to change his destiny. He did say that he wanted to go to ninja school, but that was before he got the purple card of Kyubi, not now. But even if he knew it, Chen Tian would only be more grateful to Minato and Kushina. Do you really think it's that easy to get into ninja school? The admission certificate in Minato's hand was very rare. Otherwise the ninja school would have been overcrowded. How could there be only so few people? While they were discussing matters in the morning, rumors gradually spread among Konoha. With the benefit of caring people, Orochimaru's reputation is getting worse and worse, while Minato's reputation is getting better and better. The situation that was expected once did not happen. Minato came from behind and even suppressed Orochimaru faintly. Ordinary people don't know what happened, but some smart people understand very well how imaginary this Konoha white fan Kataki Sakumo was when he died. In addition, the Hyuga family is divided. Hyuga Hizashi's wife, the hostess of Konoha's largest weapons store, and a commoner woman are all pregnant. 3 of Konoha's future 12 little heroes have already been born. Of course, there are still almost 10 months before they are born. Chasing and Heaven don't know about these things, nor do they care about them. After an afternoon of hard work, he had more than 20,000 words in his notebook, which was really gratifying. All heavens, pick up card starting from Naruto Chapter 7, Extreme Counterattack. Early the next morning, Chen Tian put aside writing the book for the time being and went to the 4th practice field after breakfast. At this time, he and Metka agreed on an exercise time. The purpose of making money is to make oneself stronger, and he will not put the cart before the horse. Morning, Kai. As soon as he arrived at the training ground, Chen Tian saw Kai who was already exercising. Then he walked around Kai as if nothing had happened, and pocketed all 3 white cards on the ground. After finishing all this, Pada lay down on the ground and started doing push-ups with Kai. Kai was already used to Chen Tian's weird behavior. After greeting him casually, he started practicing in silence. System, bring up the system panel. Easy to do push-ups with one hand, Chen Tian checked his data. Since there were no cards these days, Chen Tian didn't bother to look at them. But he didn't expect to be so lucky today, and 3 white cards came directly. Host, Chen Tian. Strength, 25. Speed, 25. Physique, 22. Spirit, 25. Chakra, 10-10. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Skills, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Chakra Lifting Technique LV1, High Fireball Technique LV5, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. It's not bad. My strength and physique have increased, and even my chakra has improved. But I have too few means now. There is only one ninjutsu, let alone one. It is a fireball jutsu that can't burn anyone. It's amazing. During the exercise, time flew by. In the blink of an eye, I completed 500 push-ups, 5 kilometers of long-distance running and 1,000 squats in the morning. By this time, the sky was getting dark. Guessing that Kushina's rice was almost ready, Chen Tian greeted Kai, I'm leaving first. Okay, I'm going home too, see you tomorrow. As he spoke, Kai stood on his head and walked towards the other side. His home was on the other side of the training ground. Looking at the way Kai left, Chen Tian couldn't help but sigh, it's so hard. No wonder he was so strong later. Looking at the sky getting darker and darker, and the morning sky no longer stopping, I stepped into the forest and ran towards home. He has walked this road many times and is very familiar with it. After the first time, he knew that he was not the protagonist, and he never thought that someone would assassinate him here. But the slap in the face often comes so quickly. Whoops! Not far from the exit, a shuriken with a dark glow and one could see how sharp it was at a glance stabbed Chen Tian's throat. Poof! The sound of flesh penetration sounded. At the critical moment, Chen Tian relied on his extraordinary reaction to dodge and avoid the vital point. So this one stabbed into his shoulder. Drink! A childish shout rang out. Regardless of the pain, Chen Tian kicked the person in the abdomen, sending him flying backwards. After landing, he immediately left the place and ran to an open place. The brat of Konoha can actually dodge my attack, isn't it good? As if Chen Tian was determined, the person who came was no longer hiding in the shadows, and appeared in front of Chen Tian openly. With a donkey face with a hooked nose, 2 mung bean-like eyes and night clothes, he is not a good person at first glance. I cursed a few words in my mind, but when I said it out, it turned into, who are you? From that village? As he spoke, Chen Tian's eyes were observing calmly. This place was too far from the center of Konoha, and even if there was support, it would not be possible to come so quickly. As for Minato, it's even more impossible. He doesn't know what's going on here at all. It would be fine if it stayed like this, but the wound on his shoulder was bleeding. Preliminary estimate is that if I continue like this for another 5 minutes, I will lose too much blood. In 10 minutes, he will bleed to death without anyone else taking action. Do you think I will say it? Or are you delaying it? But if you delay it, you probably can't hold on. The man in black showed a hint of disdain, looking at Chen Tian as if he were looking at a fool. The previous battle made almost no noise, and the possibility of Konoha noticing it was less than 1%. The little kid in front of him is probably just a student at a ninja school, not even an enemy. Coupled with the injuries on his body, the man in black didn't panic at all. Aren't all the villains in my novels revealing their identity at this time, giving the protagonist time to prepare? Why doesn't this guy act according to the routine? Chen Tian was complaining crazily in his heart, but his heart gradually sank. Because the other party seemed casual, but the position he stood blocked Chen Tian's escape route. I'm almost ready to send you on your way. As soon as he finished speaking, the man in black rushed towards Chen Tian at extremely fast speed. Although it is not as fast as Kakashi and Metkai, it is still more than half as fast as them. Damn it, let's fight. Clenched his teeth, Chen Tian endured the pain on his shoulder and began to form seals. The reason why the man in black did not use ninjutsu was because he was afraid that too much movement would disturb Konoha. Based on his previous performance, Chen Tian estimated that he was an elite chunin, and he would definitely not be able to escape. So now we can only use ninjutsu to make enough noise to attract Konoha's attention and get out of trouble. Although the pain in his shoulders continues to affect Chen Tian, the only ninjutsu he knows, the fireball technique, is not difficult. Before the man in black rushed over, Chen Tian still successfully formed a seal in front of him, fire escape, the powerful fireball technique. In the blink of an eye, a fireball as big as a basketball erupted from Chen Tian's mouth and headed straight for the man in black. But Chen Tian didn't even look at it, and once began to form seals in his hand. He can't do anything to the man in black just because he has too few ninjutsu. Really, the man in black is not the best at chakra. It's just a powerful fireball technique, I can release 100 of them. Who? 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 One fireball after another kept moving towards the man in black, forcing the man in black to retreat. Fortunately I'm not a jounin, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do a teleportation technique. After forcing the man in black back, Chen Tian breathed a sigh of relief, but the movements in his hands did not stop at all. Boom! Violent explosions sounded one after another. Although they were not loud, they were enough to attract Konoha's attention. At least it was enough to attract the attention of Metkai, who was not far from here, and Chen Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Next, be careful of the opponent jumping over the wall in a hurry. Damn it! The man in black cursed with an ugly expression. He knew that he could no longer hide it. To escape, to Liobi. Boom! A wall of earth suddenly stood up, blocking 3 of Chen Tian's powerful fireballs. Earth escape, Earth Dragon Bullet. Behind the earthen wall, the man in black twisted his fingers wildly, and an earth-yellow dragon rushed over ferociously thinking about the morning sky. Die to me. The moment the man in black appeared, the fireball that Chen Tian had prepared long ago was launched, heading straight towards the face of the man in black. Looking at the approaching fireballs, the man in black wanted to dodge, but the earth dragon bullets that were about to appear made it impossible for him to dodge. Boom! There was an explosion, and the fireball hit the man in black on the head, causing him to lose consciousness in an instant. But Chen Tian was not happy at all, because the earth dragon bullet used by the man in black before he died was only 1 meter away from him. All heavens, pick up cards starting from Naruto Chapter 8, Famous Konoha. Bang! At the moment when the Tulong bomb hit the morning sky, a foot wrapped in green clothes kicked Tulong on the head. Then Metkai's voice came, the secret of Konoha Taijutsu, Konoha's strong whirlwind. The earth dragon was torn apart under this powerful kick, and the violent airflow instantly flipped Chen Tian to the ground. Phew! Survived. Chen Tian, are you okay? After kicking the earth dragon away, Kai instantly appeared in front of Chen Tian and helped him up with a worried look on his face. It's okay, just go to the hospital to stop the bleeding. I won't die. Chen Tian shook his head indifferently, and then said, hurry and help me to the body. When I raise a question mark, it's not that I have a problem, it's that you have a problem. With this expression of someone bleeding too much and about to die, the first thing you do is go to the corpse. Although he couldn't understand it, Kai still helped Chen Tian to come to the body of the man in black. Looking at the matching white, blue, and purple cards next to the body of the man in black, Chen Tian almost jumped up with excitement. System, pick up all the cards. Ding, the white card adds 1 to its power. Do you want to absorb it? Ding, the white card increases the speed by 1, do you want to absorb it? Ding, the blue card is a substitute spell, do you want to absorb it? Ding, the purple card is the Art of Earth Dragon Bullet, do you want to absorb it? Ding, the blue card is the Art of Earth Flow Wall, do you want to absorb it? 89 system prompts sounded in succession, and Chen Tian felt that he had never heard such a beautiful sound. Absorb, absorb it all. The absorption process that was originally very comfortable was simply unbearable due to the excessive blood loss in the morning, and I immediately fainted. Swish. Swish. Swish, dot. Suddenly, more than a dozen Konoha Anbu appeared next to Metkai and Chen Tian, surrounding them. After seeing one of the white-haired Umbu, Kai's eyes suddenly lit up and said, Kakashi, Chen Tian was assassinated and fainted from excessive blood loss. I will take him to the hospital first. After saying that, Kai immediately hugged Chen Tian and ran away quickly. When the Anbu tried to stop him, Kakashi stopped him. Although he was upset that Kai called his name casually, Chen Tian's injuries did require him to go to the hospital in time. Clean the battlefield, take the body back to find out the information, I will report to the third Hokage. After assigning tasks vigorously and resolutely, Kakashi immediately headed towards the Hokage building. None of this has anything to do with Chen Tian. With Metkai running with all his strength, Chen Tian quickly arrived at the hospital. Actually, Qintian's injury was not serious. He just fainted due to excessive blood loss. Under the treatment of Palm Immortal technique, he recovered quickly. It's just that you need to lie down for a while longer to replenish the blood in your body. There are no major sequelae, it will just be a period of weakness. After confirming that Qintian was fine, Kai left the hospital to inform Minato and Kushina. Shortly after Kai left, Qintian woke up leisurely. As soon as he regained consciousness, his hands began to form seals. It wasn't until he realized that the man in black was dead that he relaxed, breathed a sigh of relief and murmured, "Survived." After moving his body to make sure there were no major problems, Qintian summarized the battle. First of all, his body is too weak. Although the chakra in his body is sufficient, it is unable to cope with the opponent's close combat. This resulted in him being unable to perform several of his physical skills, and could only be kicked like a ball. Secondly, he has too few ninjutsu, both offensively and defensively. Even if his chakra is abundant, it will have no effect without ninjutsu. A mere fireball technique cannot defeat the enemy. I have to say that I am lucky enough. If the man in black had used ninjutsu from the beginning, would have died long ago. And killing the man in black in the end was also a matter of luck, even I didn't think of it. It seems that in the future we will have to focus on picking up ninjutsu and physical fitness, or nintaijutsu will also work. This way my chakra is no longer a decoration. While deciding on the key development directions for the future, Qintian remembered that there seemed to be a big explosion after the death of the man in black, so he immediately opened the system panel to check it out. Host, Qintian. Strength, 26. Speed, 27. Physique, 23. Spirit, 26. Chakra, 10-10. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Taijutsu, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. Ninjutsu, Go Fireball Technique LV5, Earth Flow Wall Technique LV4, Earth Dragon Bullet Technique LV3, Substitute Technique LV6. The four-dimensional attributes such as strength and speed all have an increase of 1 or 2 points, but what is really important is the Earth Flow Wall and Earth Dragon Bullet. A B-level ninjutsu and a C-level ninjutsu, which greatly enriched Qintian's attack methods. He. For a moment, Qintian smiled like a fool. The patients and family members passing by outside the house glanced at him with strange eyes, thinking about whether to call a doctor for this silly boy. It's no wonder that Qintian is so happy. This sudden battle left Qintian with a body of majestic chakra but couldn't use it. Don't be too frustrated. But with these two ninjutsu and the substitution technique, combined with his chakra, it was enough for Qintian to jump from a ninja school student to an elite chunin. Now let me fight the man in black again. It's still unclear who will win and who will lose. Clenching his fist hard, Qintian was full of confidence. Bang! Kushina entered the ward and saw Qintian's silly smile. She was immediately relieved and slapped him on the forehead and said, "What are you laughing at? You almost died, you know." As she spoke, Kushina's eyes began to turn red, and tears began to sparkle in her crystal eyes. Then as if he was afraid of hurting Qintian, he gently rubbed Qintian's forehead with his right hand. The sudden attack instantly interrupted Qintian's silly smile and brought him back to his senses. Looking at the tears flashing in Kushina's eyes, Qintian's heart softened and he said, "I'm fine, I don't even have any wounds." After saying that, Qintian even stretched out his arm to show it to Kushina. "Shua! How are you, Xiaotian?" Suddenly, a figure appeared in the ward, and he was heard before anyone arrived. He didn't even have a clear look at Minato's appearance before his concerned voice rang out. After explaining and promising not to go to dangerous places in the future, Kushina and Minato reluctantly let Qintian go. Minato even felt at ease after he specially placed a Flying Thunder God mark on Qintian's body. Under the protection of the future fourth Hokage and the Ninetales Jinchuriki, Qintian returned home in a swaggering manner. "Originally, I was planning to find a publisher today, but now I can only put it away." After sending Qintian home, Minato went to the Hokage building. He has already asked Qintian about the previous matter, and now he has to report to the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Minato and Kushina were also shocked after learning that Shintian had killed an elite Chunin alone. But after knowing the process, I couldn't help but laugh and cry. The man in black was unlucky enough to die from a ninjutsu like the fireball that had never killed anyone. Under Minato's power, all subsequent matters will be handled by him and will have nothing to do with Shintian. He does not have to face the inquiries and investigations of the ANBU. After arriving at the Hokage's office, Minato did not hide anything and truthfully told Sarutobi Hiruzen everything. Morning sky. Taking a puff of cigarette, Sarutobi Hiruzen murmured. Just by describing it, he had already realized what was wrong with Shintian. It is not an easy task to kill a Chunin alone at the age of 5. Although luck accounts for the majority of it, releasing a dozen fireballs at the age of 5 is real. A dozen or so powerful fireball techniques can already be regarded as Chunin, and Shintian's chakra has not been used up yet. When Shintian grows up, how strong will he be after he has learned enough ninjutsu? I don't know about Hiruzen Sarutobi, but he should be able to compete with the first-generation master. While the third generation was thinking, Danzo in the route also received news from his subordinates and knew all of Shintian's achievements. All heavens, pick up card starting from Naruto Chapter 9, Entrance Test. You mean he released more than a dozen fireball techniques in a row, and the chakra hasn't been exhausted yet? Looking at the subordinates who came to report, Danzo knew that it was impossible for them to lie to him, but he still couldn't help but doubt. He has never seen geniuses before. The Konoha Sannin, Hatake Sakumo, Hatake Kakashi and others are all geniuses, but have you ever seen that 5-year-old with so much chakra? Even the ninja Shura Uchiha Madara did not have such a huge chakra when he was 5 years old. It is estimated that only the first generation of adults can achieve this level. The root member who came to report did not even raise his head and said emotionlessly, "Yes." Ha ha ha. Not bad, not bad. In the gloomy underground base, Danzo couldn't help laughing, and then said to himself, such a good seedling must be cultivated from the roots. In fact, the chakra of the Jinchuriki is much larger than that of the morning sky, but they cannot use it as they wish. Moreover, the chakra of the tailed beasts will interfere with their own chakra, making it very difficult for them to learn to use ninjutsu. But Shintian does not have such a flaw. As long as he learns enough ninjutsu, he can have strong combat power at any time. When Danzo was determined to get Shintian, the third Hokage was also thinking about this issue. Especially since Shintian is still Minato's younger brother, and Minato is about to take office as the fourth Hokage, who knows if he will be able to suppress Minato by then. However, after thinking about it, Sandai suppressed the problem. He was now riding a tiger and had no other choice. After being escorted home by Kushina and Minato, Shintian was forced to the bed. It was not until the ninja school started 2 days later that Shintian was able to leave the house. The busy Minato also took the time to send morning registrations with Kushina. Good morning Minato Jounin. Did Minato Jounin send his younger brother to school? Minato Jounin. Along the way down, Shintian finally saw how high Minato's prestige was now. People all over the street greeted Minato one after another. After a while, Shintian and others arrived at the ninja school. Shintian looked around and saw no characters from the original work. Within a few minutes, Minato took him to find a Chunin teacher. After pushing Shintian forward, he said, "Teacher Hariyama, I will leave this child Shintian to you." After saying hello, Minato and Kushina left first. It was really difficult to deal with the enthusiastic crowd. When Shintian saw Minato's face, his smile froze. "Classmate Shintian, the entrance test is about to begin now, and you have to come with us." Teacher Hariyama tried his best to speak to Shintian in a gentle tone, but the hideous scars on his face made his smile even more terrifying. This expression can scare a little girl to tears. Shintian cursed in his heart, but he replied very obediently, "Okay, Teacher Yuan-shan." Within a few minutes, Yuan-shan brought Shintian to the practice field inside the school. Quiet. The roaring voice of a wild bear suddenly stunned the noisy children, and everyone's eyes were fixed on Yuan-shan. Seeing this, Hariyama nodded with satisfaction and said, "Now let's start the entrance test." Everyone will run 500 laps around the playground. You have 5 minutes to prepare. Hearing this, Chen instantly jumped off the platform and started warming up on the playground. Is he the child adopted by Lord Minato? That's him. I really don't know why Minato-sama would adopt him. He's just a civilian orphan. Minato-sama will soon become Hokage, and he will be Hokage-sama's younger brother. The test will start soon, we must give him a blow. The children looked at Chen with sour eyes, eager to prove that they were much better than Chen right away. The news that Minato is about to become the 4th Hokage has spread throughout Konoha. After Minato becomes the Hokage, Chen status will immediately be different. Let alone most of the children from ordinary families, even the children of the Uchiha and Hyuga families are a little jealous. Chandian heard what these people said word for word, but he was not angry. An orphan suddenly became one of the most noble people in Konoha, which even Chen himself would find a bit distasteful. However, understanding is still understanding. Chen decided to go all out in the subsequent tests to let them know why. Okay, now everyone returns to their positions and the test officially begins. The children stood sparsely at their seats, and Minato Kushina and others were watching on the stage, including the 3rd Hokage and other senior Konoha officials. Suddenly, a one-eyed dragon wearing black clothes and looking like a member of the Black Society came to the high platform. Danzo, why are you here? Sandai asked curiously when he saw the person coming. Danzo had almost never come to attend the entrance ceremony. The sun was really shining in the west today. The war has consumed too much power from the roots. Let me see if there are any good seedlings that can replenish the power of the roots. Danzo directly characterized the matter in one sentence, and regardless of what others thought, he focused on Chen Chandian, who was getting ready on the playground, suddenly felt his hair standing on end, as if he had been stared at by some ferocious beast. When he turned his head to look, he immediately saw Danzo's greedy eyes, as if he wanted to swallow him whole. Gulu. Swallowing hard, Chen hurriedly turned his head and kept comforting himself, it's okay, it's okay. If Danzo dares to hit his attention, Kushina will dare to release the Kyuubi and hit the root. Ready, run. At this moment, Teacher Yuan Shan gave the command, and hundreds of children rushed out immediately. Chen also unleashed his full strength and reached the leading position in just a few seconds, and the distance between him and others was still widening. All the children present are 5 or 6 years old. Even if they have been trained, they are only at the level of adults. But each of Chen 4-dimensional attributes is above 20 points, leading them in all aspects. Even though these children can use chakra, the chakra of Chen is incomparable to them. While running, Chen eyes suddenly lit up, and he thought to himself, "System, pick up the card." That's right, while running, a white card with a tempting light suddenly appeared in front of Chen eyes. I don't know which one of the hundreds of children dropped it. White card adds 1 to physical constitution. Discovering an unexpected gain, Chen gave up his previous idea of finishing the fastest, adjusted his speed to be 1 lap ahead, and kept picking up cards. The probability of dropping cards during exercise is small, but if hundreds of people exercise together, the probability is not small. White cards increase speed by 1. The white card adds 1 to the physical constitution. White cards add 1 to strength. It seems that going to school is the wisest decision. Seeing his attributes rising continuously, Chen shamelessly took the credit for this on himself. All heavens, pick up cards starting from Naruto Chapter 10, published by Enduring the Sky. Even though Chen deliberately lowered his speed, the 500 laps were still completed quickly. Who? What kind of pervert is this guy? He didn't even shed a drop of sweat. Not to mention sweating, he didn't even pant, and he wasn't tired at all after running 500 laps. A group of children who were dissatisfied with Chen staggered to rest on the ground, gritting their teeth as they looked at Chen who was not blushing and out of breath. Chen Kai was too lazy to pay attention to their gazes. At this time, he was admiring his attribute panel. Host, Chen. Strength, 29. Speed, 52. Physique, 50. Spirit, 27. Chakra, 1012. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Taijutsu, Basic Shuriken LV2, Basic Taijutsu LV3, Konoha Great Whirlwind LV4. Ninjutsu, Go Fireball Technique LV5, Earth Flow Wall Technique LV4, Earth Dragon Bullet Technique LV3, Substitute Technique LV6. Speed and physical fitness have more than doubled, and both have exceeded 50 points. Now even without using chakra, Qintian's physical body is enough to fight ordinary genin. For a while, Qintian was quite pleased with these little kids swaying around, but when he saw the looks of those lowly girls, his face immediately turned cold again. He originally thought that Danzo's gaze was scary enough, but now the gazes of these were so hot that they almost set Qintian's clothes on fire. If this is giving them a good look, why not pounce on them immediately? The children's performance was all seen by everyone on the high platform, so Qintian couldn't hide it from them even if he didn't use all his strength. Sarutobi, I want the child who wins first place. The roots are the most suitable place for his development. Hearing Danzo's words, everyone looked at him as if they were a fool. Qintian's name has long been spread among the upper echelons of Konoha. What are you pretending to do? Moreover, he is the younger brother adopted by the fourth generation and a die-hard supporter of the third generation. How could he give it to you? Want to eat shit? What is surprising is that when Sandai heard Danzo's words, he did not immediately object. Instead, he sat there and pondered. You're dreaming. Kushina exploded on the spot, her red hair flashed automatically, and she threatened, if you dare to take Xiaotian's idea, I will remove the roots for you. Kushina, calm down. Minato stepped forward and held Kushina's jade hand, turned to Danzo and said coldly, I have my own arrangements for my younger brother's development, so you don't need to worry about it, Danzo-sama. Hearing the words of the two people, Danzo's face was extremely ugly. He didn't expect that only 2 months later, Minato and Kushina would actually confront him for such an orphan. However, he still did not give up, but set his sights on the third generation. It was precisely because he knew Sandai's concern that he spoke at this time. I will arrange the future of this child myself, Danzo, don't think too much about it, you can choose 2 of the remaining ones to join the route. Seeing the attitudes of Minato and Kushina, the third generation spoke slowly. Humph, Sarutobi, you will regret it. Danzo's face turned completely green, and he secretly cursed the third generation for being indecisive. Obviously he wanted to suppress Minato's power so that he could secretly occupy Minato's position as Hokage, but at this time he actually let go of such an opportunity. Morning Tian is not strong now, but he is only 5 years old. When he is 15, let's see how you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, will end up. Alas. Looking at Danzo's leaving figure, the third generation also sighed. He did not expect Minato and Kushina's attitude to be so determined, otherwise he would have agreed to Danzo's request. As long as he can weaken Minato's power, he will do it without sparing any effort. This can be seen from the fact that the 3 guards of Minato in the original work are only Chunin. Qintian naturally didn't know about these things, but from the unpredictable expressions of several people, Qintian had some guesses. Now I would like to invite the third generation to speak. Seeing that everyone was almost resting, Yuan Shan immediately called everyone together. Congratulations to everyone for joining the ninja school. From today on, you are a preparatory ninja. From now on. Sandai's speech was like an old lady's foot wrapped to Qintian's ears. It was so smelly and long that the listeners felt drowsy. Wherever the leaves are flying, the fire will continue to grow. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and make new leaves sprout. After a full 2 hours, the speech came to an end, and Qintian couldn't wait to applaud. Pa, 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 pa. Under a series of applause, Sandai left with a gentle and kind smile, gaining a lot of fans. But this does not include Qintian. Okay, let me announce the class list next. Elite Class, Qintian, Uchiha Kei, Hyuga Sento, Akimichi Dinkai, Nara Shikaku, a total of 28 people. Ordinary Class, Passenger A, Passenger B, Passenger C, 33 people in total. Ordinary Class 2. Except for the Elite Class, Qintian was too lazy to listen. As expected, it was similar to what he had guessed. Most of the elite class were children of family members, with only 2 or 3 commoner children. After announcing the class list, teacher Harayama announced the disbandment and came to school on time the next day. After knowing his class placement, Chen Tian turned around and left the school, walking towards Minato and Kushina who were waiting for him at the school gate. "I'm going out first." After returning home, Chen Tian took out the prepared forbearance to the sky and left the house. Taking advantage of the time today, he planned to find a publishing house to publish his book. Konoha Publishing House. Finding his favorite publishing house, Chen Tian walked in with great swagger, expressing himself as the younger brother of the 4th Hokage in the future. If you want to take advantage of these vampires, Chen Tian can't do it anyway, you can only rely on the power of Minato and Kushina. "Little friend, what book do you want to buy?" "I am the younger brother of Konoha Jounin Namikaze Minato, and I am here to publish a book." Putting on the posture of a rich second generation, Chen Tian threw the notebook in his hand into the boss's arms with a pop sound. He had found out clearly before coming here that this publishing house had a ninja background, so it often bullied and exploited authors. So the opponent must be frightened, otherwise Chen Tian doubts whether he will be able to get 1/10 of the royalties earned by enduring the sky. Okay, we'll make arrangements now." Hearing this, the boss had no doubts at all and agreed tremblingly, without even discussing the issue of royalties. Behind him was just an ordinary Jounin, unable to compete with Minato. And no one in Konoha dared to pretend to be Minato's relative. He is not afraid of Minato himself because Minato is reasonable. The boss is really afraid of Kushina. A few years ago, because Jiraiya gave Minato a copy of Intimate Paradise, Kushina was so angry that he demolished his place into ruins and warned him not to continue publishing. "Wait a minute, let's talk about the royalties first." Chen Tian stretched out his hand to stop the boss who was about to leave with the book, and said, "I won't bully you. I will get 70% of the royalties, how about you get 30%? "Okay, it's settled." The boss didn't dare to have any objections, so he immediately sent Chen Tian out of the door with the contract signed by Chen Tian.